We're not live. We're going. Welcome. Welcome everybody. Welcome to Cycle Express, a 30-minute cardio workout on a bike. If you've been here before, welcome back. If this is your first time, welcome. My name is Muchi. I am your instructor today. If you have not already hopped on your bike, go ahead and make sure your seating is at the right height. We're going to want it to be parallel with our hip. That way when we're pedaling, we can reach full extension in our hip and our knee. So if you're on the bike and you're pedaling and you feel like you're reaching a little bit on your downstroke, go ahead and lower that seat a little bit. And then if you feel super bunched up on your downstroke, go ahead and raise your seat. The handlebar is kind of for comfort, so you can adjust that any way you like. But if you have your bike all adjusted and ready to go ahead and hop on, and we can begin to pedal. Giving everybody else about a minute to get in class if they would like to. Making sure that we have water with us if we're working out in the SRAC, making sure we keep our masks on. And if you have the option of having a towel, that might be helpful. But that one's completely optional. Water though, heavily suggested. You should have water with you for this class. Hope you guys are ready, excited. It's Wednesday, we're halfway through the week. So this could be a good class. But if you are ready to go ahead and locate that center red knob on your bike. This is going to be our resistance knob. So turning it to the left is going to take resistance off. Turning it to the right is going to add resistance. And this is also our emergency stop knob. So if you go ahead and press down on that, you're going to bring your flywheel to a stop and you can safely dismount your bike. If you need to get water, go to the bathroom, or if your flywheel gets a little too out of control, pressing down on that for our own safety. You also might have a center console on your bike. If you do, you can go ahead and turn that on. Typically there's a button at the top center that will turn it on. And what a lot of center consoles tell us are our power, or our wattage, and our RPMs. So our power or wattage is how much force we're exerting on the pedals, and our RPMs are how fast we're going. So if you have that screen, it's smart to turn it on, because those are also really good gauges of how hard you're working in class, but if you don't have it, it's not necessary. Everybody go ahead and sit up, do a couple shoulder rolls back. Hinging forward at the hips, we're gonna find a light grip on our handlebars. Focusing on that engaged core, open chest, and flat back posture. Good, and we're gonna pedal to the center of our foot. For now, we're gonna wanna find enough resistance on our flywheel where we feel like our bike is making contact with the road. So on a scale of 1 to 10, we should be at a moderate 5. 1 being super no resistance on our wheel, feeling like Mary Poppins flying around in the sky, to 10 being way too heavy, we can barely pedal through. That's gonna kind of be the number scale we use today. For warm-ups and recoveries, we're gonna wanna be at 5. So go ahead and find that pace. I forgot to turn the fan on in the studio, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that now. Good, but you guys keep cycling along. If I don't turn that fan on though, oh my goodness, it gets so hot in here. All right, we've got about a minute left in our warm-up, so go ahead and slowly creep up your resistance just to wake our legs up and get ready for class. Today we're gonna kick off class with our sprint song. We're gonna be doing 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off, 3 rounds. It'll be an easy, fun way to kick off class. Well, I shouldn't say easy, because sprints are a fun way to kick off class. Good, but as we start our sprint, it is important that we have enough resistance on our flywheel to keep our hips stable. So we're gonna wanna make sure to increase that resistance before we go into our first 30-second bout, and I will cue us when we get there. Good, here we go. Moving into stage 1. Slowly increasing our resistance and starting our first 30-second sprint in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 30 seconds on, As we sprint, we want to focus on getting our RPMs anywhere between 85 and 105. But if we don't have that RPM screen, we want to sprint, but make sure that our hips are stable in the seat. So if you feel 10 seconds left. Good. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and take that resistance back a little bit. We got 30 seconds off. Good. In these 30-second breaks, you can take time to get some water if you need, or just enjoy having 30 seconds off. But we are on for our next sprint in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Increasing that resistance, finding that stability in the seat, and then working on our speed. Anywhere between 85 and 105. If you do have that screen and you are exceeding 105, go ahead and add some resistance. Good, 10 seconds left. 3, 2, 1, and take that resistance back. 2 sprints done, 1 sprint left. And then moving on to our second work song of stage 1. Again, taking advantage of this time to get some water if we need. But at the end of this 30-second sprint, we have about 50 seconds in a seated heavy. So we can also take advantage of that time to get water if we need. But our last sprint in 3, 2, 1, here we go. Finding that stability and finding that speed. Good. Focusing on our riding posture of that engaged core. Open chest and flat back. Halfway there. Good. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and take it back. About 50 seconds is ours. So take advantage of it, get some water, catch your breath a little bit before we move on to our standing climb drill. And whenever you are ready, go ahead and give that resistance knob a big increase to the right and come up out of the saddle. Again, take as much time as you need. Right now we're just kind of getting used to the standing form. So we're going to want to keep that engaged core, open chest, and flat back. Really focusing on that engaged core to stay lifted as we stand. Keeping the majority of our weight over the pedals. Pedaling through the center of our foot. Making sure that as we go down, our toes aren't pointed down or pointed up. They're pretty parallel to the ground. Good, we want enough resistance to stay controlled as we cycle. So this drill is a standing climb. We're going to simulate what it feels like to climb a mountain. If you want to use your imagination, you can pretend that we're climbing Kennesaw Mountain right up the road over there. But in order to do this, we're going to have to periodically increase our resistance on the flywheel, because the closer you get to the top of a mountain, the heavier it is, the steeper it gets. So our first increase in resistance is right here, giving that knob a quarter turn. Good. And we're going to be doing this about 4 more times. But after this song, we have a full recovery song, about 2 minutes to catch our breath, relax a little bit, and then close it out with stage 2. Good, our second increase in resistance is right here. 3 left after this. Keeping that in mind so we don't put too much resistance on, because we are going to continue to increase. Good, digging deep. Our third increase in resistance is right here. 2 left. It might help us to imagine something we really, really want at the top of that mountain, and we can pretend that we're cycling towards it. And when we're done with this drill, we're going to be at the top of that mountain, and you'll have what you want. Just under a minute left in this drill. Our fourth resistance cue right here. Increasing that resistance a little bit. We only have one more after this. Good. Do whatever you got to do to keep moving. Our last resistance cue right here. Increasing our resistance and riding it out for 30 more seconds. Good. Maybe it's taking all of our strength to get through these pedals, but keep pushing. We've got just under 20 seconds left. Good. Almost there. And relax. Take a seat. Take that resistance off. We've got 2 minutes and 15 seconds. Taking advantage of this time to catch our breath, get some water, and bring down our heart rates just a little bit.
All the way to the top, never stop, no. We are the champions. All the way to the top, never stop, no. We are the champions. We are the champions.
Well, I do have you guys here. I do want to talk to you about live group fitness. We have brought that back this week. We are actually teaching group fitness in person right now. So make sure you go on mysportsrec.kennesaw.edu under the OwlFit tab to see what classes we're offering in person. I teach a strength class today at 3:15. So if you like my virtual cycling class, maybe you like my in-person strength class, and I can actually interact with you face-to-face, which would be super, super fun. But make sure if you do plan on attending one of those classes, you reserve your spot in the actual class and a reservation in the facility to work out. And I hope to see all of your beautiful, lovely faces next Wednesday at 3:15. But for now, we are in cycle mode. So go ahead and increase that resistance a little bit, because we've got just under a minute left in our warm-up. We're going to want to our recovery. We're going to want to get our legs back in gear for stage 2. Good. Stage 2 is going to kick off with the drill called 30-20-10. What we're going to do is we're going to cycle in 30 seconds of an easy to moderate pace. Kick it up for 20 seconds, cycling in a moderate hard pace, and then our last 10 seconds is going to be a hard-working weighted sprint. So bring me back that scale of 1 to 10. That first 30 seconds should be an easy 5-6. That second 20 seconds should be a moderate 6-7. And that last 10 seconds should be a hard 8 to 9. And we're going to be doing that for 4 rounds. We're going to go ahead and start increasing our resistance a little bit in 3, 2, 1. We're cycling in that 30 seconds of easy to moderate. So a little bit more intense than we just were in our recovery, but definitely not too hard because this drill is pretty demanding. Good. Go ahead and increase that resistance in 3, 2, 1. Increase that resistance, increase those RPMs, kick it up a notch, and get mentally prepared for our 10-second resistance sprint, which we are on in 5, 4, 3, 2. Increasing that resistance and focusing on getting those RPMs up. Good. We should be heavy. 3, 2, 1, and we are in that 30 seconds of easy to moderate work. And we're going to be doing that 3 more times. Taking this time, this recovery time, to our advantage. If we need to get water, again, feel free to. Increasing our resistance in 3, 2, 1. Increase that resistance, increase those RPMs. We are in 20 seconds of moderate to hard work. Getting mentally prepared for that 10 seconds of hard work in our weighted sprint. Good, increasing that resistance in 3, 2, 1. 10 seconds of a hard sprint right here. Zoning in and pushing through. Halfway there. Good. 3, 2, 1. And take that resistance back. 30 seconds of easy to moderate work. We are halfway through this drill. Keeping in mind that it is a pretty physically demanding drill, so we do want to stay in tune with our bodies the entire time. If we feel super tired and need a round off, go ahead and take it. But if you are feeling good, feeling able-bodied, go ahead and increase that resistance in 3, 2, 1. 20 seconds of moderate to hard work. Good. Mentally preparing ourselves for that resistance sprint in 3, 2, 1. Increasing that resistance, 10 seconds of hard work. Good, push through, halfway there. 3, 2, 1, and take that resistance back. 1 round left. Get some water if you need to. Getting ready to close out this drill. Increasing our resistance in 3, 2, 1. 20 seconds of that moderate to hard work. We've got one more weighted sprint in this drill. Getting in gear, and we are on in 3, 2, 1. Our last 10 seconds. Really pushing through. Dig. Good. 3, 2, 1, and take that resistance back. Our next drill is a seated climb. So we're going to be seated the entire time, focusing on resistance work rather than speed, which is what we just did in the last song. Similar to our standing climb, we're going to simulate what it feels like to climb a mountain, this time seated. But we do have about 30 more seconds before I start these resistance cues to catch our breath from that last drill, get some water, and get mentally prepared to close out stage 2 as we have 2 more work songs ahead of us. Good. And if we are ready, we're going to go ahead and start those resistance cues now. We're going to be doing fewer resistance turns, which means we're going to try and make them bigger. So we're going to go for our first resistance turn, and it's going to be a half turn. So if your resistance knob is a circle, you're going to want to turn it a half circle. And we're going to be doing this 2 more times. Good. As we get heavier on our flywheel, it might be smart to focus on pulling your heel to your glute, and that will engage our hamstring a little bit more. So rather than just a push cycle, cycling becomes a push and a pull, taking some stress off of that front half of your leg. So you can think of it as a push-pull method. That definitely helps me when I start to get fatigued from having a lot of resistance on my flywheel. Good, our next resistance half turn is right here. Increasing that resistance, we should get heavier on the flywheel. Whatever we imagined back in that standing climb, if we want to imagine that again, at the top of the mountain that we're cycling to, feel free to go ahead. Or if you want something completely different, you can imagine just something you really want, whether it be Christmas time, the end of the week, a big bag of money, an A on a test, whatever you're cycling to. You can picture that at the top of the mountain, and you will be there in 1 minute and 45 seconds, as long as you keep pedaling to it. Good, that is the only thing you have to do right now. Just keep moving. Our last resistance turn right here, again, half turns. And we're going to cycle at this pace for about 1 minute and 15 seconds. Good, and then after that, we've got one more drill left in class, and we are all free into our cool down. Good. Really tuning in and focusing. Just under 1 minute left. Working on pulling that heel to our glute to engage our hamstrings a little bit more, as we should have a good amount of resistance on our flywheel. As we get tired, a lot of times the first thing to go is our form. So make sure you still have that engaged core, open chest, and flat back. Good, pedaling through the center of your foot. You've got 30 seconds left in this drill. Good, pushing through, 10 seconds. I know it is heavy, our legs are tired, but we have 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and take that resistance back. Good. Our last drill of today is going to be Tabata. For those of you that don't know, Tabata is 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off, and we're going to be doing 6 rounds of it. We're going to be doing a 20-second sprint, 10 seconds off, and a 20-second standing heavy. And I will cue us when we start, but we are starting with that 20-second sprint. Having enough resistance on our flywheel to stay stable as we sprint, we're going to go ahead and kick it off in 3, 2, 1. 20-second sprint on now. Good, this is the last drill of class. Now is the time to drain your tank. We have 3 sprints and 3 standing heavy. Good, 3, 2, 1, and 10 seconds off. As an added challenge, pedal through this resistance on our 10 seconds off. And we are standing in 3, 2, 1, 20 seconds up. Good, we should be standing heavy. So I encourage you to increase that resistance a little bit and really put in work as we're standing. Good, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 10 seconds off, pedaling through that resistance. On for our 20-second sprint in 3, 2, 1, 20 seconds right here. Pushing through. I know we are tired, but think about what got us to class today, and that's going to get us to the finish of it. Pushing through. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 10 seconds off. Good. And we are standing in 3, 2, 1. Good. Maybe it's taking all of our strength to get through these strides. We have a little bit of lean on each side, doing whatever it takes. And we are seated in 3, 2, 1. 10 seconds off. We only have 1 more seated sprint and 1 more standing heavy. and then we are done. On, in 3, 2, 1, 20 seconds. Good, our last 20 seconds sprint. Draining our tank right here. Keep pushing. Push, push. 3, 2, 1, 10 seconds off. Good. 20 seconds of work stand between you and the end of class. We are up in 3, 2, 1. This is it. Putting everything we have left in these last 10 seconds. Good, keep pushing. 3, 2, 1, and take a seat. Take that resistance back. We are now in the cool down. Taking this time to catch our breath, get some water, and bring our heart rates down. Good, we are going to go ahead and start our on the bike stretches. So bringing our arm across our body and acting as if there's a magnetic repel between our shoulder and our ear. So we can get that stretch in our arm. Good. And release, same thing on that other arm. Acting as if that magnetic repel is still in between our ear and our shoulder. So pushing our shoulder down. We don't want to be super bunched up like this. Push it down. Good, and release, lacing our fingers behind our back and opening up our chest. Cycling is a format where you're like this the entire time, so our chest, it's good to lengthen those muscles after they've been in a tight position. Good. And release, pressing down on our emergency stop knob. Bringing our flywheel to a complete bike. Go ahead and pop off the bike. Find the nice incline on the back and prop our toes up on it. Hinging forward at our hips. We're going to find this stretch in the lower back half of our legs and our calf muscle.
Get up and move. Get up and move your body. Get up and move. Get up and move your body.
Good, if you want to get a little bit deeper in the stretch, dropping at the knee and pushing forward at the hip, we should feel this stretch a little bit closer to our bone and that deeper muscle of our calf complex. Good. And release, switch legs. Starting with popping our toe up and hinging just at the hip. And I'll cue us when we can get a little bit deeper into that stretch, but for now, we just need to give our muscle a little bit of time to realize it's being stretched before we can drop into it deeper, but that option will be there. Good, and if you'd like, go ahead and dropping at that knee, pushing forward at that hip, and feeling that stretch a little bit deeper, a little bit closer to the bone. And release. Going into our next stretch, we're going to find that nice midpoint on our bike and prop our heel up on it. If you can reach the top of the seat, you can do that too. I, however, cannot. So keeping our hips square to the bike, we're going to hinge forward and touch our toe. We should find this stretch in the upper back half of our leg or our hamstrings. Obviously, the deeper you lean into this stretch, the deeper you're going to feel it. And release, same thing on that other leg, propping it on the seat or the center, hinging at the hips and touching that toe. And release, moving into our last stretch, we're going to grab our ankle, point our knee directly at the ground, and focusing on keeping our heels right underneath us. We're going to find this stretch in the upper front half of our legs or our quads. Cycling is a very quad dominant format, so it's important that we really feel this stretch. Good, you can hang onto your bike for stability if you need to. If you can't, just freehand it. I know I probably can't. And if I fall down, this is recorded, so people will be able to go back and watch that whenever they want. And I don't want that. Good, go ahead and release. Same thing on our other leg, grabbing our ankle, pointing our knee directly to the ground, and keeping our hips underneath us. Good. And release. Thank you guys so much for joining me. My name was Muchi. This was Cycle Express, and I hope to see you guys next week.